Welcome to Iona Speaks about Soaring Courageously, where I take you through an inspiring journey of courage and resilience through empowering conversations with amazing guests. In this podcast, I share my personal story of overcoming adversity and embracing the beautiful masterpiece of creation. Through a series of personal anecdotes, insightful reflections, and awe-inspiring conversations, there is an emphasis on the significance of self-belief with the willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. As someone who has faced numerous challenges, I know firsthand the importance of rising above fears and limitations, where I became a #1 best-selling author. My story underscores that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the determination to move forward despite of it. So join me for conversations that are riveting, aiming to inspire you to spread your wings and soar towards your dreams with unwavering conviction. Welcome to another episode of Iona Speaks about Soaring Courageously. So as we've taken executive ownership over who we are, walking in the righteousness that God has given to us, and as a life coach and a health coach, I love to step into this new place, and I am so glad that you are on this journey with me as we are soaring courageously, going to new heights, experiencing new realms of understanding and dimensions and awareness that God, our Creator, is bringing us into. So today I am so excited and elated to have a wonderful conversation with Dr. Janet Little, also known as Dr. Jan. Dr. Jan, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
So thank you so much for joining this conversation. So Dr. Jan, she is, of course, a doctor, and she's also a coach, a facilitator, and a speaker. And she supports a wide range of human experiences, but she specializes in helping healthcare and other professionals invest in their own transformation. So she is holding space for the emotional weight they carry, stress, that overwhelmed through burnout. She guides individuals back to clarity, strength, and purpose. And what I love is that she's passionate about redefining success, not as relentless pursuit of achievement, but as a sustainable, integrated way of living where excellence and well-being coexist. So by bridging the worlds of medicine and leadership and personal transformation, she is able to empower individuals in their profession and in their personal life to break free of cycles of exhaustion and step into a life where they have years that are heightened in their career. So, Dr. Jan, thank you for coming to Iona Speaks about Soaring Courageously. And the first question that I want to ask you is, how are you allowing yourself to give space to soar to new heights that God has created for you to soar to?
That's a good first question. So I would say, how am I allowing space? First and foremost, I had to surrender. That has been the toughest thing to do, of surrender. And what I've learned about surrendering is that it's not weakness. It is not failure, but it is an opportunity to allow God to work through me and work on me so that I can help others to get to the point to where they want to be.
I love that. The fact that you just start off with the place of surrendering. And surrender is just like allowing for the weights to come off, for my ideology of what I think my identity is supposed to be, of where I'm supposed to go, of how I'm supposed to be. But no, I'm going to surrender to our Creator, our God Almighty, Elohim, and just sit in the presence of God and recognize that while I'm in this place, there's no weakness, there's no failure.
There's no failure.
So I love that. As you're doing this shift, because you make this bridge, I loved how you do that, that bridge between being a physician and understanding the medical side, the
Yeah.
intricacies of the medical side of wellness, and then moving into the overall well-being, that
Yeah.
interpersonal, the knowing that you have to look within yourself.
Right.
One of the things that I say is that we are spiritual beings and we were all created in the image and likeness of God.
Uh-huh.
So, how do you, in your surrendering, bridge the physician side, that medical intricacy side, into the well being side?
So, you know what? That has been a journey.
Mm,
And I'll tell you this, when I first started off in medicine, it was never integrated. And by
mm,
that, I mean, we were taught the science of medicine and really not taught that it was kind of siloed, that you have the human being, but you have their disease. This is what you're focused on. Focus on the disease, not the human that
mm,
it has succumbed to the disease. So for so long, I lived in those two worlds where for me, it didn't feel right as a physician necessarily of bringing my faith and my
mm,
spirituality into it. And so as I went on my own personal transformation, and we're talking decades, up until the last 6 weeks,
It's a
um,
continuing journey.
it
It's a
is.
continuous
It
journey.
absolutely is. And you said one key word that has been resonant in my life these last 5 or 6 months of this year, and that's
Mm,
identity.
mm,
I had to release my identity because I was so surrounded about being a doctor, being a mother, being
mm,
a wife, being a daughter,
mm.
identity. But I didn't know who I was.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so God had to strip all of those things from me to the point of me feeling like I don't know who I am in
Mm,
Christ.
mm,
And so with the stripping down, with the like I like to use a metaphor of going into the basement and
mm,
digging out all of those years of junk of beliefs,
hmm,
of what other people said of me or what I said of myself based upon other people's thoughts.
mhm.
I had to excavate all of that. Or
Ooh,
not me, but God had to
God, yes,
excavate all of that.
yes.
So then once I've been able to identify myself as a daughter of Christ,
Mm,
not just a servant or a citizen of the kingdom, I'm a daughter. I
mm,
lost that for so long. And even though I never lost my faith, I lost that identity of being called God's daughter.
yes.
And so to bring it all around to this wholeness,
Mm,
I now see medicine differently. I now practice medicine differently.
mm,
And I'm okay sharing my faith. It's not thumping people
right,
on the head with it. It's
right.
how I show up every day.
Yes, yes.
So that's and I'll just share this story with you, and it happens to me on a regular basis now.
Mm,
Uh, I work with veterans, and I had this one veteran who served in Vietnam, and for 56 years, he carried this burden, shared it with no one.
mm,
56 years.
mhm,
And I wasn't even seeing him for what was sharing with me.
mm,
I was seeing him for medical issues.
right, right.
But he saw the light in me, the God in me that day, and experienced his own freedom.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely can't take credit for that. So
Yeah.
that's how I try to show up every day. Do I get it right? No.
Do any of us always every day? That's why we need Holy Spirit to guide us,
Mhm.
to allow us to walk in the steps that have already been ordered for us.
Right.
And so I love how you said you just show up. You're showing up in how God created you,
Mhm.
not in the ideology that you created for yourself and the pathway that you went on, but yet you're giving yourself that space to be exactly who creation wants you to be
Right.
so that who the creator wants you to be in creation. Let
Mhm.
me rephrase
Mhm.
that. So that people are drawn, just like you said, the vet was drawn to the spirit inside of you. He was
Right.
drawn to God. He saw the love of Christ in you. And he
Mhm.
saw that, you know what? This is a safe space for
Right.
me to open up and share some other things other than what my physical piece is.
Mhm.
And as you talked about integrative medicine, which has not been something that we've done in Western medicine so much, but
Right.
now for the past few decades, couple of decades, they've been moving into that space to integrate
Right.
medicine of utilizing, other wellness tips. And that's a path that I'm on. I am not a physician. I'm a licensed social worker. And yet I had a journey that awakened me to another space of wellness. And so
Mhm.
now I'm finishing up getting my health coaching certification with the Institute of Integrative Medicine at IIN. And I love how you interweave everything. And one of the things they talk about is primary food and secondary food. And
Mhm.
primary food is what nourishes us that's off the plate. Secondary food is what nourishes us that's on the plate. And
Mhm.
everything is feeding our body,
Yes.
is feeding our body and feeding our souls and
Mhm.
feeding our spirits. And so the things that are off the plate that nourish me, my number one is spirituality. Because as I said earlier, we're spiritual beings. I believe
Right.
that. How you present in your spirituality might be different, yet I know that it's okay, which I loved, for us to show up in the spaces of how we present.
Yes.
Because I present differently than how you present. You're going to attract differently than how I attract. Yet we still have the power and the authority of Christ operating through us
Absolutely.
in the authenticity of Holy Spirit that guides us and gives us wisdom and is our defense.
Mhm. I love that.
So I love how, when I asked you about your story, I love how you said that there was a dark side to success.
Mhm.
Being enlightened about that in your journey, can you share some more about that?
Sure. Sure. So, as I said earlier, I'm a family medicine doctor,
Mm-hmm.
mom of a 16-year-old. Pray for me on that one.
I'm a mom of a 13-year-old. We got teenagers.
Uh-huh. So, family medicine doctor and wife of over 20 years and
Mm,
mom and now semi-care provider for my aging parents. I had this dream of it from 10 years old that I wanted to be a
mm.
doctor. And
Wow,
I did
that's beautiful.
everything, checked all the boxes of
Beautiful.
becoming a doctor. And I got to that pinnacle, graduated from medical school, and was like, okay, so now what? But I was able to move through my career and get to leadership positions, was overseeing over 20 medical centers throughout the Mid Atlantic region as a director of medical operations. But I didn't understand the dark
Mm,
side of all of that success.
mm-hmm,
It looked
mm-hmm,
good on paper, it looked
mm-hmm.
good financially.
Yeah.
But what was happening, that identity, that erosion of self, was chipping away at me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I found myself reverting to things to cope. And that was
Mhm.
coming home to a glass of wine. I didn't think anything was wrong with it,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
to have a glass of wine, but I was numbing my emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when it got to that point was I was feeling so much, all of the chaos,
Mhm.
that I started to feel nothing from the alcohol.
Mm.
And at
Yeah.
some point, my son was very young, still young at that point, and I have this one picture of him. He and I are on the stairs. He had, I think he was like in kindergarten or first grade. He had his art project with him, and I'm sitting next to him. And I have this smile on my face, but every time I look at that picture, I see a shell of a woman.
Ooh.
I was
Ooh.
gone. Janet was gone.
Wow.
And so I had to make a decision of, do I stay on this path that I'm on, or that S word, do I surrender?
Do you surrender? Do
And
you
that was my
surrender?
first time, the first known time through burnout.
Mm.
And so what I wound up doing, I had to surrender. And that's what I did. And I got help through coaching.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, even as a doctor, I was afraid to get mental health help
Yeah.
because my credentials were at stake if I went through
Mm.
either my insurance or a psychiatrist or psychologist. So
Yeah.
I had to kind of go through the back door to get some help
Sure.
through a coach
Sure. 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 Because
just
our
to make
society, wow, didn't understand it. I'm sorry, I
yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt you there. I was just saying our society didn't understand and the professions didn't understand that if you don't take care of the individual who is doing the work,
Mhm.
then the work suffers. And they
Yes,
were looking at mental health as a negativity,
exactly. Weaponized,
weaponizing it.
weaponized. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
weaponized mental health.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that things are shifting
Mm-hmm.
now, that more medical professionals are getting help, but the suicide rate for physicians is still pretty high.
Wow.
Still pretty high. I don't remember exact
Yeah.
numbers, but
Yeah.
it is still pretty high. I think the last I recall is like at least 400 per year.
Yeah,
And
that's too
that's
much.
400 too many.
Exactly. That's 400 too many.
Hmm.
And, you've spoken about so many different tidbits, and I was looking down trying to find a quote,
Hmm.
because I love quotes. But one of the things that you said that I would love to be highlighted again for our listeners is when you spoke about how medicine used to focus on how to cure the disease, but not how to focus on the individual.
Yes,
And how can you not focus on the individual when you're trying to cure something that's on the inside of them?
exactly. Exactly.
And I love how that was just you highlighted that piece. And I just wanted to come back to it because we can't just focus on the disease.
Hmm.
We have to focus on the whole person
Right.
and how that disease is showing up. Because, as I know, because this has been your world, and what I've been learning is that even our emotions, how we actually do what our faith is, how we do believe, what we eat, how we eat, the stress level, what our stress levels are,
Hmm.
what our relationship is, all of those play a significant part in the disease being formulated and the
Exactly.
disease continuing to eat away at us. So I love that piece, and um that's why it's so important to have integrative um functional medicine medical practices right now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is what drew me to be a health coach.
Hmm.
To step into that space as a life health coach, because um, I know that it was beneficial for me as a survivor of a traumatic brain injury to know that the power of breath, when I wake up in the morning, there's certain things I should do that are going to help my cortisol levels to get me through
Mhm.
the day. That's going to help how my body actually responds and feels in the day. And I'm recognizing it. So when I wake up in the morning and I do my breathing and I just am still in the presence of God, and then I do a meditation and then I open the, blinds and let the sunlight come in and take all my supplements.
Huh?
Within that first hour, I'm like, wow, I see a difference. I feel a
Yeah.
difference.
And that's one of the things that I love about being able to integrate the
Yes.
medicine with the spirit.
Mm.
And so when you think about it, taking that deep breath
Yeah.
and breathing out,
Yeah.
you're activating what's called your autonomic nervous system.
Yes.
And your autonomic nervous system has two pathways. You have your sympathetic, which most of us, it's in overdrive. That's
Mm-hmm.
where you get that fight, flight, fear, and it activates
Right.
your
Right.
stress hormones, that
Yeah.
cortisol. And then you have your parasympathetic nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
the rest and digest. And we don't
Yeah.
activate that enough. So
Yes.
when you're breathing, you're balancing out
Yes.
that nervous system. That's where
Yes.
all the science comes in. That's where I get excited because it's like, wow. And then when you want to put a little bit of the spirit in it,
Mm.
I listened to this meditation
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and how they described it of the breath of Yahweh.
Mm.
Yahweh. The presence of
Mm.
God is in that breath.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's just it's to me it's so juicy of now being
Oh my
able
gosh.
to not only help my patients but help my coaching clients
Yeah.
to integrate the physical, the
Mm.
mental, and the spiritual
Yes.
holistically,
Yes. Yes.
because everything that is showing up in our lives, those are the fruits. How do we now get to
Mm.
the root of it?
Mm.
So that's we taught us start talking about that.
You know what? That's so great because here it is, not to get so technical,
Mhm,
but the power of breath is something that resonates with me so much.
mhm.
And Yahweh breathing through us, we are only breathing because, and I'm glad I have my tissues near me, is because God breathes through us. It's God's breath that breathes through us. So in walking, when we're in creation and we feel the wind that blows, that is God's breath upon us. So
Mm,
God's breath is all around us.
mhm.
God's breath is through us.
Within us.
Yahweh is in us
Mhm.
and all around us. And then we take it and interfuse that to the fact that God created our bodies. So he created every single nerve, every neuron, every
Well,
muscle, every bone, everything. And so that vagus nerve that connects my brain to my body,
mm,
when I am breathing, it is settling and resting my body. So just as you said, so that parasympathetic nerve
mhm,
is in operation most of the time.
mhm.
So that when the sympathetic nerves, that flight, that fight, and that freeze, and then sometimes they'll come up with, fawn, which
Fine.
is to appease when somebody is actually doing something to another
Mhm,
person. These things, I learned this when I was in, my field of 35 years with child sexual exploitation.
mhm,
It's that rest and digest part
mhm.
that allows us to just be still. Being in the presence of God is one of the most sacred things.
It is.
It is. And so In my coaching, I say to people, we're going on a sacred journey. I'm going to partner with you on a sacred journey through the 7 pillars of health because we're going to do this together.
Yeah.
And yeah, see, you got me tearing up here just talking about that integration between medicine and spiritual because it's
Mhm.
a beautiful thing. It's a joyous thing. It's not anything
Right.
sad. It's a revelatory thing. And when we get to that space of revelation, that's why when we said in the beginning, it's like this is an ongoing journey that we're on.
Right.
It's never ending
Exactly. Exactly.
while we're
And
here.
so right. And so for those people who come into your atmosphere who don't believe in God,
Mm,
that's okay.
it is okay.
That's okay.
It is
And
okay.
I'm not going to force my belief on you.
We're not supposed
But I
to.
right, exactly, and I don't
Jesus
have
never
to.
did
God has
that.
already done it. Yeah.
God already did it,
So
and
all I
Jesus
have
never
to
did it.
do is show up in that groundedness of God and Holy
Yes.
Spirit and just
Mm.
allow God to use me. I'm just the container.
Yes.
I'm just the container.
Yes. That's
And it
beautiful.
and as I said, it took me a while to understand that,
Hmm.
but more importantly, it took me a while to receive and accept that because
Mm.
there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that.
Yes.
Of God, why me?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, until that shift happened of God, why not me?
Why not me? We
Uh-huh,
accept it, but then we have to receive it,
uh-huh.
and then we have the responsibility to do.
Right, right.
And we do according to how we were created to do. We are being and knowing. Once
Uh-huh,
we know, we're able to be. And
uh-huh,
as we're being, we're knowing. It's a back and forth.
uh-huh,
You know,
uh-huh.
it's always going back and forth. And, I love this piece and I ask you, as you're on this journey and you've gone on this journey, you've allowed yourself to step into this place, you've made some sacrifices, you've walked in the obedience that God has given to you, you are exercising your creative manifestation of walking in the dominion that God has given to you, and to be fruitful and to multiply according to what God said in the beginning of creation in
Right.
Genesis. And you're now stepping into a space that
Uh-huh.
has already been prepared for you. Every experience that you've had has prepared you for this moment. And this experience is going to prepare you for tomorrow. So, what advice from your journey would you give to our listeners, someone who is feeling exhausted? Someone who is feeling burnt out from the situations that they've experienced in life,
Uh-huh.
either being a vet, either being a doctor or being a nurse,
Uh-huh.
or being a mother or being a wife or
Or
just
just
being a
being.
woman or
Uh-huh.
just being.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Um, I go back to surrender.
Mm,
And it's not an easy action.
right,
And so I call
right.
it surrendered action.
Surrendered.
Surrendered,
Surrendered
yeah,
action.
surrendered action. And within that, it takes a lot of intention because, particularly in this world that we're in, where it's go, 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 there's information being thrown at you 24/7.
Yes.
And to be able to surrender and get into that place of stillness takes intention.
Mm-hmm.
And I know
Yeah.
for myself, I'm still working on that
Yeah.
because it's so easy for me to get into action, to get that sympathetic nervous system because it's been ingrained in me. And now it's a matter of how do I now retrain,
Mm,
rewire
mm.
my mind. And as in the Bible, I believe it's Romans 12:2. Mind.
Renewing the mind.
to then be able to transform. But it all starts with the heart.
Right, right.
And am I willing
Yeah.
to get into that place of stillness,
Mm-hmm.
of silence,
Mm-hmm.
of obedience, all of those things
Mm.
that we don't want to do? That all that
It is.
And
It
so
is.
once you're able to put that into practice and to now abide in God's word,
Mm.
sometimes you have to stop the speed up.
Mm. Yeah. So if I'm hearing you clearly, in being able to uh, just be, a tip that you would be providing for those who might be struggling in how to be in the midst of the
Mhm,
chaos, in the
mhm,
midst of the frustration, of the exhaustion, of the burnout, they would surrender. And how they would be in that surrendered action is they would now, they would now uh, be still.
mhm.
And in their stillness, they can get away from the noise,
Exactly,
disquiet the noise,
exactly.
and renew their minds. And how they renew their minds is to be open
Mhm.
and to be open to change and
Absolutely.
to allow for certain things to come in. Not everything can come in,
Not everything.
but certain things can come in because in the renewing of the mind is the transformation.
Exactly.
And in the transformation, that's what brings the action
Mhm. And clarity.
and brings clarity.
Mhm.
Yes. So your surrendered action is stillness, renewal, transformation for clarity.
Yes.
That's great. So this has been such an empowering conversation. And I know it's been an empowering conversation for our listeners as well, because sometimes you think that you just have to perform in order to
Mhm.
be validated. Sometimes you feel like you're unable to take that brave, courageous step to take care of you because of how it's going to appear to
Right.
your superiors or to your job.
Mhm.
They might think that you're not able or capable to do your responsibilities if you're taking care of yourself.
Right.
However, I know that there's been a shift in so many different organizations um, that is now coming where they recognize that how we operated back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s is not how we need to operate now.
Exactly.
And did COVID open the lid to that? I think it did. I think it did open the lid to that because
Absolutely.
it allowed for people to see
Mhm.
now what was necessary for the whole person and not just the disease
Exactly.
and not just getting out the numbers for the productivity. You know, we have outcomes and measures that we have to do, but well, not but, and we need to learn how to do them in a way that's not jeopardizing the person who's facilitating those outcomes.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's well-being.
In a nutshell.
That is well-being. And it aligns with, you know, I mentioned earlier about how I coach and how I take individuals through the 7 pillars of health to be strengthened. Well, the 7 pillars of health are spirituality, they're emotional,
Mhm.
mental, physical, relational,
Mhm.
intellectual, and even economical. Because our health is all integrated.
Exactly.
It's not just physical health. It's not just spiritual health. There's an integration of multidimensional health. And
Exactly.
I say 7 pillars of health. Some other people might say 8 dimensions. Some people might say 12. Some people
Mhm.
might say 4.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, we realize that our health is not just linear. Our health is multidimensional.
Exactly. Exactly.
So for my last question, As you have gone on this journey, you are walking in your wellness, you are steadily moving forth, you are an entrepreneur, you are just doing great and bold things. So, in that, you talked about how you soar courageously. You gave us tips on how others can soar courageously. In a world right now that there is so many unknowns,
Mhm.
especially concerning how medicine and how health can be provided to individuals because of restrictions being placed.
Right.
How do you encourage individuals who might not know, who don't know if they're going to have medical insurance tomorrow, on how to care for themselves? If they don't know if the doctor that they had that was there to work with them, who
Mhm.
might be using some integrative tactics,
Yeah.
is going to be available for them because of they don't know what their insurance is going to look like.
Mhm. Mhm.
What would you say to that?
Yeah, that is such a very loaded question because our society has been on a foundation of that sick care model.
Mm, yeah.
And so it really is going to require one to have a desire to be curious
Mm,
about their health and understanding that what you put into your body can affect
yeah.
what definitely the food that you put into your body.
Yes.
But I think more importantly, what you visually put into your body, what you auditory put
Oh,
into your body. You mentioned it
yes.
about the 2 plates, what
Yes.
you're putting o what's on your
What's
plate
on
and
the
what's
plate
not
and what's
on your
off the
plate.
plate.
Yes.
Yes. Primary and secondary
Yeah.
foods.
Yeah. So, what are you ingesting
Yes.
from a physical standpoint,
Mm,
and how is that slowing down enough to understand how is that food making me feel 5
mm.
minutes after I eat it? An hour after I eat it, is your stomach gurgling and bubbling up?
Right.
You might not wanna be eating that. So, we just eat, 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 and not pay attention to how these foods are affecting our
Mm,
bodies.
yeah.
But then we also, as I said, what we watch, what
What we
we read,
watch. Mm,
what we look at,
yeah, I love that.
that's all part of the fruit.
Right.
The
Right.
fruit, your beliefs, your values, all of those things, we're taking it all in,
Yes.
just like a seed being planted.
Yes.
What you plant, you're going to harvest.
Yeah.
So to
Mm.
put it into, I guess,
Whew.
medical terms for someone who may not know what tomorrow's gonna hold based
Mhm.
upon what's going on in the world,
Yeah.
is to really take stock of what is coming in.
Mm. Be cognizant of what you see, what you allow
Mhm.
yourself to hear, the spaces that you allow yourself to be in,
Yeah,
what you put in your mouth, how it makes your body feel nutritionally
and your
to
body
to
is gonna
to try
tell
to
you.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
to listen to the body too.
your body is God created a wonderful being. Our
Yes, God
body can
did.
heal itself.
God did.
But he gifted people to be able to study science and to be doctors, but it wasn't to replace what he had
Right.
already created.
Oh, I love that. So without replacing what has been created, then when you're stepping into the unknown and you're not sure, and you might have, diagnoses and ailments that
Mhm.
really require medical treatment, to still trust
Yeah.
that you can get the medical treatment, but you get the right medical treatment because you're going to be cognizant of what you're seeing. You're going to be
Mhm.
cognizant of what you're hearing, which is going to cause you to be cognizant of what you're doing
Mhm.
and what you're putting in.
Exactly.
and what you're ingesting, what
Mhm.
you're allowing, and the fact that since God created this body, we can turn to God too and say, help us. So that's
Mhm.
another tip. Listen to your body, but
Listening to
also
your
listen
body.
to the creator of your body.
And that goes back to getting still
Yeah.
and sitting in that space of surrender so that you can hear.
Yes.
Because God's not going to talk over all this noise.
Mm-mm. God, no, no, no. Well, God is talking. We just can't hear. We won't be able
Exactly.
to listen because the
Mhm.
noise is the
Until
distraction.
and then sometimes you don't get that message until it's too late.
Mm. Yet the beauty is that he still gives the message.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
the thing. Even though it
Yes.
might come later, there's consequences because it's later, yet
Mhm.
it still comes
It still
and you can
comes.
still receive it
Mhm.
because you accept it, receive it,
Mhm.
and then be able to walk in it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, because we have a responsibility to ourselves. We're
Yes.
vessels. God created us as this
Absolutely.
vessel.
Absolutely.
So, this has been an amazing conversation.
Yes, it has. Thank you so
Have
much.
loved it so much. Thank you, Dr. Jan. If
Thank
people
you.
want to get in contact with you, how do they get in contact with you? And of course, I'm going to put your information attached to this podcast. But
Awesome.
for those who are listening, how would they get in contact with you?
So, easiest thing is my website. I'm doing some changes on it right now, but it's
Aren't
still
we all?
active. So my website is drjanetlittle.com. That's simple. drjanetlittle.com. All of my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is the at Dr. Janet Little. I try to keep it simple. I can also be found on LinkedIn under Dr. Janet Little. So that's me. That's
Dr.
me. Just
Janet
how you
Little. That's
Dr.
good.
Janet Little. Keep it simple.
That's good. That's good. And listen, I'm so impressed that you're on TikTok. I haven't taken that leap to get on TikTok yet, but thank you so much for sharing that. So that's good.
Thank you. And I just
Mm.
started Substack too. So
Substack is great. Now I am on Substack. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm just learning Substack, so you can find me on there as well.
That is great. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for having this conversation with me, Dr. Jan. Thank
it's
you,
been a pleasure.
listeners, for being able to listen. If you are watching, we have been so excited to invite you into this time, into this space to hear about integrative medicine, of how we are merging medicine with the spirit and how we are moving and coexisting in that space right now. And as a transformer of burnout into power, we are recognizing that burnout is not something that is a negative connotation. Burnout can be a hidden gift that strengthens you, that moves you forward, and moves you into a path that you did not even know, because doors are opening and opportunities are coming
Mm.
because of that awareness of where you are is not where you're going to stay. So thank you again and see you next time. This podcast is produced by Ronald S. Rudisil and Iona R. Rudisil. Each episode of this podcast will be posted in video version on our YouTube channel, Iona Speaks About Soaring Courageously. You can connect with me on social media. On Instagram, it's Iona SPKS_Soaring Courageously. And on both LinkedIn and Facebook, it's Iona R. Rudisil. If you like this podcast, tell a friend, tell your family, and please like, rate, review, and subscribe. And most of all, keep soaring courageously.